Ladies and gentlemen, if you can find a seat, please. And once you've found your seat, immediately stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Brian.
See you.
Brian.
Huh? Dude? I got it cut, yeah.
Got them all cut.
Ladies and gentlemen, as soon as Mr. McCallie finds his chair. Standard procedures for this meeting. I think the school district outdid you, to be perfectly honest. But that's all right. We're all in the same sandbox. We're all going to play nice, and the meeting will go smoothly, as it always does in this town. I will go through the warrant article one at a time in order, starting with Article 2. I will announce the subject matter and recognize someone for the purposes of making a motion. Once we have a second, that person will have the first opportunity to speak to that motion. Anyone else who would like to speak to it, you have a podium right here, microphone. You're free to come up and add your comments to it. If there are no amendments, the article will move to the ballot as printed, and we will move to the next article. If there are amendments, I would ask that you provide them to me in writing, and we will process those as they come through. To start the meeting, I'm going to recognize Tom Koenig to opening remarks and introduce the three tables here.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. I'd like to welcome you all to the meeting tonight, but before we move into that meeting, I would like to ask for a moment of silence in memory of our dear friend, mentor, past member of the Merrimack Board of Selectmen, and most recently Speaker of the House of Representatives in Concord, Dick Hench. Thank you. By way of introductions, to my right, your left, Finley Rothaus, Town Councilor, Bill Boyd, the Vice Chair of the Council, myself, Tom Koenig, Chair of the Council, Nancy Harrington. Behind Nancy is Peter Albert. Center behind us is Barbara Healy, and to the right, your left, is Lon Woods. And in front of me, Eileen Cabanel, can you introduce your staff, please? Yeah, I caught you guys without a mic.
So tonight we have, can you hear me? Can you hear me, everybody?
Yep.
Eileen, be closer to the mic, please.
Our Human Resources Director, Sharon Marunich. Our Fire Chief, Matt Duke. Police Chief, Brian LeVake. Where's he at?
He's way in the back.
Hi, Brian.
He's guarding my unmasked door.
DPW Director, Kyle Fox. Town Engineer, Don Tuamala. Highway Superintendent, Lori Barrett. Where's Lori at? Lori here? Okay. Solid Waste, Chris Perot. Is Chris here? No. Wastewater, Sarita Croce. She's been very busy today, so we're going to excuse her. Parks and Recreation Director, Matt Kasparius. Hi, Matt. Yvette Kauser from the Library Director is right there. I don't recognize you with that hair color. It looks lovely. Community Development Director, Tim Thompson. And Media, Nick LaValle. Town Clerk, Tax Collector, Diane Trippett, over here, that you all know. And Welfare Director, Pat Murphy. And that's it. Thank you.
To your right?
Oh, I forgot all about you. Matt Upton, who is our legal counsel from the firm of Drummond and Woodsum. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'd like to take a moment now to acknowledge the contributions of Eileen Cabanel over the past 10 years as our town manager.
Tom, can I interrupt for just a minute? Eileen, would you stand up, please? Yes.
Do as you're told.
Thank you. Now you can listen to Tom's words.
So
Yes.
this will be Eileen's last town meeting as our town manager, as she is retiring effective May 1st. In her tenure, we have faced many hurdles and overcome barriers, as well as made great strides as a community. Eileen came to Merrimack at a time when our finances were stretched, our budget went to default, and our reserves were at minimum acceptable levels. Through her finance and budget knowledge, she was able to develop prudent budgets and build our savings, and has saved the town a tremendous amount of money throughout her careful and thoughtful management. She was instrumental in working with several key businesses who have moved into the town, including Getting, the Premium Outlets, Spraying Systems, Vault Storage, the Merrimack 360 redevelopment, etc., along with working with Fidelity and AB to encourage their expansion. She's been instrumental in dealing with the issues like the Kinder Morgan pipeline, PFOA contamination in town, multiple wastewater system upgrades, negotiating favorable contracts with vendors for solid waste and recycling, dealing with DES and EPA on permit issues, and many, many more things. Recently, Eileen was instrumental in getting the sewer connection to the Merrimack Middle School rebuilt at no cost to the taxpayers, allowing for the school to get an occupancy permit and allowing for potential expansion to the north and west of town. The original construction of that section of the sewer line had flaws which precluded the town from accepting the line as built. This alone saved the town over $1 million in construction expenses. While here in Merrimack, she has brought on many top-notch directors and assistants, including Tim Thompson, Matt Kasparius, Sarita Croce, Dawn Tremala, Lori Barrett, to name a few, and promoted from within Brian Levesque, Matt Duke, and Kyle Fox, amongst others. Eileen has constantly been working to provide the best of everything to the people of Merrimack through working to train and improve the staff and focus on positive, results-oriented service at all time. And maybe most important, she has constantly worked to keep costs and budgets down and to provide the best value possible, always understanding and weighing the difference in cost versus performance expectations. This has been a tremendous asset to the town council each year as budget season rolls around and we struggle to provide services in an increasingly expensive environment while minimizing the increases felt by the taxpayers, you, the citizens of Merrimack. So Eileen, thank you very much for your service to the town of Merrimack. If anybody else would like to make a comment, now would be a great time. Finley?
Thank you, Tom. I can't add, there was so much there. It was all so true. It's made my life so easy, and I expected you to be here another year, so I was quite surprised to learn that you were leaving at the end of May. And but
End of April.
I wish you well, and I know you're going to have a great time. But thanks for everything you've done for the community, Eileen. We appreciate it.
Bill?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Eileen, I'm not going to be redundant with the words from Councilor Rothaus and Chairman Koenig, but all I can say to you is I wish you nothing but health and happiness as you embark on your retirement. The 10 years that you have been here in the town of Merrimack has been nothing but a wonderful experience for both me working with you and hopefully vice versa, but also the work that you've done here in the community. So thank you very much for what you've done, and happy retirement.
Nancy?
Of course, you know I had to say something. I'm not going to reiterate, obviously, Tom did the highlights. But I think the community needs to understand that you're the one who made us look good. You're the one who made our job efficient, effective, and educated us in terms of the financial possibilities and how to be efficient. And really hired terrific people to work in this town. So thank you for that.
Awesome. Lon?
Thank you, Chairman. Eileen, I'm going to miss you. You've done very, very well. Others may know that you and I worked on a couple of things when I had a different position, and you were always very knowledgeable and very helpful. I wish you well. I wish you fun, happiness. Go enjoy. Thank you.
We're good? Okay.
Thank you.
And there's one final comment before moving into the purpose of our meeting here tonight. We, the town council, are proud to announce that Eileen's replacement will be none other than the person she's been training for the past multiple years to be able to step in and carry on, Paul McCallie. Paul will start as town manager on May 1, and he will be working closely with Eileen over the next month and a half, and has been for the last several months, to smoothly transition and backfill positions as he moves up. Please join us in congratulating Paul and help him to transition into his new role as town manager of Merrimack. Thank you. Thank you.
Can I say
Moderator.
surprise, surprise?
Sure, go ahead. Sure.
Eileen, you have the floor.
I forgot who was in charge. What I wanted to say to the townspeople, it has been a pleasure to work here in Merrimack. I appreciate the people and the kindness that you've shown and the interest that you've shown in your community. I particularly appreciate the town council, all the various ones that I've worked with. They are anything but rubber stampers. They want to understand everything. That it's very important. I've never worked with a bunch of people who are more interested in knowing the details and the important things that they need to know before they make their decisions. So every decision is well thought out in terms of financial considerations and all those other kinds of things. They really keep me on my toes. They've kept me on my toes all the time, and they are very knowledgeable and do everything very deliberately. And I would also like to reiterate the wonderful staff that the town has in every department, and wish Paul the very best. I have every confidence in him, and he will do a wonderful job for the town, as he always has. He's maybe not quite born in Merrimack, but he's got it in his blood, and he loves this town, and he will do a really great job for you. So thank you.
Thank you. Now that we've completed the patting, we want to proceed with Article 2 relative to the operating budget. I will entertain a motion. Tom?
I move Article 2 as printed.
And Bill, you're seconding. Thank you. Tom, you have the floor.
Thank you. I just finished speaking about the job that Eileen, Paul, and the town staff do in preparing the budget each year to present to the town council. They do a great job. They listen carefully while the council debates and questions the budget, so that when the final tally comes in, we're all on the same page, and the areas that the council may still be uncomfortable with get summarized for us to make a final decision prior to this article moving to the warrant and tonight's discussion. As printed in the article, the budget request for the year of 21-22 is $34,539,495, which is higher than the current year by about $1.3 million, an increase of about 4%, which breaks down in the following summarized ways. The New Hampshire retirement system increases by almost $1 million this year. The 53rd week of payroll, every 3 to 7 years, we end up with a 53rd week, adds over $350,000. Union contract raises that we approved in previous years adds about $272,000. Two positions that we added for a half a year last year go to full-time this year, and that adds another $98,800. Solid waste tipping fees are going up because recycling is going way down and the cost of getting rid of trash is going up, $84,000. And insurance, the nets between the health and general liability and all that is going up approximately $56,000. Add to all those numbers, we're talking about adding 4 firefighters this year, which we desperately need in our staff to be able to maintain and manage the access to the homes in an emergency, whether it's a fire or a medical emergency. But that adds almost $460,000. Put in non-union raises, and we've got $82,000 additional, and the general government staffing for another part-time person to help out with HR and other issues adds another $38,000. That adds up to like $1.94 million, which is the increase, or it's even bigger than the increase. So we have several decreases that add up to almost $600,000, which include about $420,000 for things like vehicle fuel and maintenance. We have new equipment and staff. We've been able to buy new trucks, and so we're expecting maintenance to go down. Office supplies, we have less elections this year. Outside services, utilities, debt service, overtime in the fire department, all adds up to about $420,000. Capital expense decreases, things we're not spending this year that we spent this past year, add up to another $164,000. So that adds up to almost $600,000 in reductions in the budget, netting us out a $1.3 million increase in the budget for this year. There's also an anticipated decrease in revenues coming from $240,000, mostly from the state reductions in the state aid. To help reduce the tax impact, the council is using about $1.65 million from the general fund balance, which is an increase from last year of about $100,000. That was my effort at trying to summarize it. If you have questions or concerns about the budget as we have it here at $34,539,495, please feel free to share.
Do you have a second? Bill? Thank you.
Bill seconded.
Okay, thank you. Anyone would like to speak to Article 2? Seeing no one, Article 2 will move to the ballot as printed. Article number 3, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $1,880,000 to be added to the following capital reserve funds previously established for the purposes of which they were created, and to apportion the sum among the several funds as listed in the warrant article. Finley?
Move Article 3 as read and printed.
Thank you. Second? Lon, thank you. Finley, you want to speak to this?
Yes, I will quickly. Thank you, Lynn. Article 3 is a group of items that we place into our capital reserve funds and expendable trust funds. We use it as a tool to help us stabilize the tax rate, is the way I like to see it. It used to go in the budget, and a few years ago the state required that it be separated out, and that's why you'll see Article 3. And so I just ask for your support, and if you have any questions, feel free.
Anyone with questions or comments on Article 3? Seeing none, it will move to the ballot as printed. Article 4, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $500,000 to be added to the Sewer Infrastructure Capital Reserve Fund previously established, with said amount to come from sewer fees and no amount to come from taxation. Barbara?
So moved.
As printed, thank you.
Second.
Pete, second, thank you very much. Barbara, you want to speak to it?
Sure. Hi, everyone. You know, like Article 3, Article 4 is the sewer fund, i.e. the wastewater treatment plant. The deposits go into the capital reserve fund that in prior years have been included in the operating budget. There has been a change to last year, warrant articles and how they were written based on RSA 35-5 that states we need to have a separate warrant article from the operating budget for the CRF, the Capital Reserve Fund deposits. So that is Article 4, to keep our wastewater treatment plant fully funded. Thank you.
Anyone would like to speak to Article 4? Seeing none, it will move to the ballot as printed. Article 5, relative to the stormwater planning project.
Hello. I'd like to move as printed.
Thank you. And Bill, second, thank you. Nancy?
Yes, I'd like to address this very shortly. Article 5 is related to the establishment of a $75,000 bond in order to complete a planning study involving stormwater collection in the Pine Knolls Shore development. Why a bond? Merrimack has been awarded a Clean Water State revolving fund loan, which will totally pay for this bond. It is a requirement of the loan that this money be designed and approved as a bond. Therefore, there is no tax implications related to this article.
Any further discussion on Article 5 or questions? Seeing none, it will move to the ballot as printed. Article 6 is by petition. Mary Beth?
I move that the article be passed with minor wording additions. Lynn, you are aware of the minor wording additions. Would you like to read them, or would you like me to read them?
I would like you to, please.
Okay. So if you folks want to follow along either here or the very last page where it's in big print, some of the wording at the beginning changes, and then there are just a few other changes. So here it goes. I move to see if the town will vote to urge that the New Hampshire General Court, which is obligated to redraw the maps of political districts within the state following the federal census, will ensure fair and effective representation of New Hampshire voters without gerrymandering. Additionally, to ask, that's one of the changes, the word ask. Additionally, to ask the town of Merrimack to urge the New Hampshire General Court to carry out the redistricting in a fair and transparent way through public meetings, not to favor a political party, to include communities of interest, and to minimize flotarial districts. That word flotarial is a change. The record of the vote approving this article shall be transmitted by written notice from the town clerk, not council, town clerk, to Merrimack state legislators, informing them of the demands from their constituents within 30 days of the vote.
Thank you. Do we have a second? Thank you. Mary Beth, you have the floor. You want to explain this, please?
Sure, I just have a 2-minute statement. My name's Mary Beth Raven. I have lived in Merrimack for 30 years and raised my 2 daughters here. Every 10 years, every state in the union takes the new census data and draws new equal voting districts for the following: the congressional districts, those are our state reps, the New Hampshire Senate, the Executive Council, County Commission. As you probably know, this process is called redistricting. The New Hampshire legislature is in charge of this, and for many years it was conducted with a special committee created for this purpose. But in 2011, instead of doing this process in front of the public, the special committee was bypassed and the maps were drawn in private. When the required public hearings were held around the state, no maps were shown, only verbal presentations. In the case of the New Hampshire House maps, the public had only 24 hours to review our 400 state rep seats. Now that's all in the past, but our job here is to make sure it doesn't happen again. This resolution for fair, nonpartisan redistricting asks for just that, a redistricting process that is fair, nonpartisan, and transparent, just as we, the voters, should expect. The New Hampshire Resolution for Fair, Nonpartisan Redistricting is being added to many town warrants throughout New Hampshire. As a matter of fact, similar warrants were passed in town meeting last night in Londonderry, Rindge, Hudson, and Alsted. If we pass the resolution, it directs the town to communicate our vote to our state reps along with all the other towns. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak to this article? And I will clarify, there are 3 minor verbiage clarifications. When the motion was made, in the second paragraph, it says, additionally, on the warrant, these voters ask, and it's going to say, instead of these voters, it will say to ask the town. At the end of that paragraph where it says districts, it will say floterial, which is the official phrase. And we're not asking the town council, the first sentence in the third paragraph, we're asking the town clerk. So those 3 changes to the wording in the printed article are part of the main motion. So just so that's clarified. Is there anyone else who would like to speak to this? Yes, you have the name. Yeah, sorry. Anyone else that would like to speak to this? Seeing none, it will move to the ballot as motioned. And unless anybody has any further information or articles or anything else to come before this meeting, I declare it adjourned. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a wonderful evening, and we will see you on April 13th.
Absolutely. Thank you, Madam Moderator.
So Eileen took up most of the meeting, huh?
I'm sorry?
Merrimack TV is committed to our community. From gavel-to-gavel coverage of town and school board meetings to updates on town services and projects, we aim to keep you connected.
Good morning, I'm Kyle Fox, Public Works Director for the town of Merrimack.
Hi, I'm Diane Trippett. I'm the town clerk tax collector for the town of Merrimack.
I'm Captain Matt Tarleton with the Merrimack, New Hampshire Police Department.
And keep the public informed of every motion.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
And many moments, so you can be confident that we're here for you. Thanks for watching. Stay connected. Follow Merrimack TV on Facebook.